You're online at the Feelgood station. Your first stop for feel-good music, feel-good chat, and much, much more.
The Cellar of Horrors.
Oi, what are you doing? I do the intro. No, Septimus, we agreed. You could have your little section where you choose synth songs, and I do the intro. Okay? Go on. Hello and welcome to the Cellar of Horrors. I'm your host, Tim Mendes, and the other voice you just heard was Septimus the Spider. He's a bit riled up this week. He's all excited because he said we've ended up having an impromptu special this week due to our guest. Because our guest this week is, if you're a goth in the 90s in Britain, he's going to need no introduction. He's the founder of Nightbreed Records and has been in bands such as Every New Dead Ghost, Arcane Winter, Midnight Configuration, Chaos Bleak, Death Party UK, Brother Orchid, loads of them. Loads and loads of bands. Yeah, it's Mr. Trevor Bamford, and he'll be joining us in two bits throughout the show. What was going to be a short interview turned into a not so short interview, and then so I've decided what we're going to do is we're going to kind of give over the show to Nightbreed Records a little bit. So everything you hear tonight is going to be by bands who are on Nightbreed Records or Nightbreed Records adjacent. It should be fun. Like I say, Septimus is excited because he loves a lot of the Nightbreed stuff, because there's a lot of like dark wave and things like that. Lots of very synth heavy stuff. You like it, don't you? Right, yeah, it's awesome. The track you heard to bring us in was by Killing Miranda from their Transgression by Numbers album, and it was the first track on it. It was called Discotheque Necronomicon, and as a devotee of Lovecraft, I gotta love that title. Yeah, it's a great track. It's a great album. In fact, Killing Miranda were one of my favourites of the era. Their song Burn Sinister is still something that I play in my DJ sets to this day. It's great. I still play Discotheque Necronomicon as well. I mean, they're just some great songs. So come on then, excited Spider. What do you want to play first? What do you want to hear? Let's have your moment now. Oh, I knew I could count on you on this show. Excellent. What a great track. Yeah, this song is by band Intra-Venus, who was the singer Apollos, and it was Mark Tansley from Suspiria. Both people have ended up spinning off doing other things that we'll probably play on other episodes. I mean, Apollos went off to do Method Cell, which we put on down here in Brighton when we did a day-long industrial festival at the Old Market called Hardwired. So we'll definitely play some of them, probably Running with Scissors, because I love that track. And Mark Tansley went on to do the band Razorfade, who I definitely will be playing at some point. Righto, this is Intravenous with the song Persecution.
Is this all that we've become? A martyr to their cause, a persecution. Just settle down, you've got time to kill. Nothing really happens, and it never will. Not while they're around, keeping
You're online at the Feelgood Station.
If you are caught in the open, lie down.
Welcome back to the Cellar of Horrors on the Feelgood station. Yeah, two great tracks there. The first one was chosen by my sidekick, Septimus the Spider. It's Intra-Venus with Persecution. It was released as a single in 2000 and then re-released in a slightly different form on their Irreverence album in 2001. That was the single edit off the single version. The second one was the band Project, and the track was The Next World, taken from their 2002 album Encryption. Now, both of those bands, as was, it was kind of trendy around the year 2000, wasn't it, to have funky spellings. I mean, you had even a whole genre called nu metal, with NU-metal. But it seemed to be the trend, because both of those bands had funky spellings. The first band, Intra-Venus, was spelled intra, hyphen, and then Venus as in DeMilo. The second band was Project, but spelled pro, hyphen, ject with a K. They're both absolutely great bands. Intra-Venus weren't around very long, but they were absolutely superb. Okay, before we move on to the first part of our interview with Trevor Bamford, just got a little bit of horror culture news for you now. These are very exciting events. They're by Nunky Productions, which is Mr. Robert Lloyd Parry, who you may have seen on documentaries about people such as M.R. James and that kind of thing. Now, these are one-man performances. They're not readings, they're performances. He goes up there and it's all from memory, it's all rehearsed in his head and all the rest of it. They're like solo theatre performances. And they're adaptations of M.R. James stories. I recently saw him in Cambridge doing two stories by H.P. Lovecraft, Pickman's Model and The Music of Eric Zahn, and it was absolutely superb show. It was in a Unitarian church. These are all in historic locations. Now, as I'm going out to you now, on Saturday the 8th, tomorrow night, Sunday the 9th, he'll be doing the Archive of Dread in Kensal Green Cemetery. Now, this isn't M.R. James adaptations. This is a walk and ghost stories around the cemetery, so I'm definitely going to try and get up for that. The tour continues on Thursday the 13th. He's over to Dublin doing A Warning to the Curious and another story. And the tour continues all the way to Friday the 23rd of December, where he'll be doing ghost stories at the Bijou Cinema in Southport. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of dates. It'd be far too long for me to read them all out, but go and check them out. That's nunky.co.uk. I definitely recommend going and seeing them. They're some of the best nice entertainment I've had in a long time. It was really, really good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to occupy Septimus with his little Atari handheld. Go on, off you go. And we're going to get into our interview with Trevor Bamford. Before that, I'm going to play you a couple of tracks by a couple of bands that he was in. The first one is Miranda by Every New Dead Ghost.
Dress
You're online at the Feelgood Station.
Welcome back to the Cellar of Horrors on the Feelgood Station. The first track you heard there was Miranda by Every New Dead Ghost, and the second one was Mythos by Chaos Bleak. Now, both those tracks have a certain somebody in common. Somebody who's, to anybody who was a goth in the 90s in the UK, he was, he's going to be a stranger to none of them. I'd like to welcome Mr. Trevor Bamford. Trev, thanks for coming on, mate.
No problem, Tim. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
What am I doing at the moment? I mean, we've just moved house. Now,
it's always fun.
What I've been doing today is I've been trying to rebuild what what is really the former Nightbreed studio in a new location. So it's a bit like kind of playing Tetris with musical equipment, you know. So I've been doing that. So I've been doing literally today. So what else? Well, yeah, so I've been doing that mostly today. Obviously, with Chaos Fleet, we had a band practice last night.
Oh, wonderful!
And, yeah, we're busy working away on various things.
Excellent. Yeah, because you've been at it a long time now, haven't you? I believe every new dead So every new Dead Ghost have been around. We're around 85, 86, something like that.
Every new Dead Ghost. The first lineup came together, I think, in 1985. I want to say 1985. The first single, I think, Visions, Friends, and High Places, came out in 86. I want to say,
yeah.
And then, but obviously, we had a different lineup, and then a couple of other lineups, and then the lineup that everybody knows, one with Bones on vocals, Stu on bass, Tony on drums, and myself on guitar. We actually kind of formed in that lineup probably around about July 1988 and recorded an EP called the Ascension EP, which was released, I think, in August, 12-inch sort of vinyl. You know,
I've got it.
Yeah,
I've still got my vinyl copy of it.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a little story about that. Before the EP came out, what happened was we got like a mock-up of the album cover, like kind of a first version of it, like a real sleeve. And we were so excited because we basically got it when we were on the way to a gig. We all took it in turns in the van holding the 12-inch sleeve.
Nice.
It's my turn to hold it. Oh, it's my turn. And we just looked at it and thought, my God, we're on vinyl.
Oh,
we're on vinyl, you know.
Well, that's the thing. CD just doesn't have that same allure, does it?
Doesn't.
It's anybody could burn a CD and make a cover, but a vinyl is takes effort.
I know, and I can say we're just passing around the cover in the back of the van.
That's brilliant.
Just looking at it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So Nightbreed came around sort of the end of that, didn't it? It was your last album as Every New Dead Ghost. It was the first release, wasn't it?
Endless Nightmare of Stations.
Yes.
Yeah. Basically, the whole Nightbreed story. I'll be here all night just talking about that. But basically, what happened is I'm trying to think of the short version. Basically, what happened is that somebody offered me a production distribution deal if I was to set up a label.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is that there's various production distribution deals means basically I put the album together, they press it and put it out, and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so the first thing. The first release was New Alternatives, the famous 12 album, which had people like Creaming Jesus on it, Memento Mori, Every New Dead Ghost, Black Sky. Who else was on it? Oh crikey! I think Rosetta Stone were on it.
Yeah, they were.
They definitely were on it. And so that was the first. That was kind of testing the water, and the 12-inch came out and. What happened was it didn't actually do that well, not to start with. So what happened is the production distribution deal just kind of faded away.
Right.
And I just thought, right, I'm going to sort of just get on with being in Every New Dead Ghost now. However, and this is the cool bit, is that I just kept getting mail and mail and mail and mail asking me about the various bands on the album. Can we buy this and can we buy that? And the first first maybe 20 letters I got, because it was letters in those days. Literally kind of some of them even pen and paper,
Well, I remember doing it myself.
Yes, the old days,
Well, I remember getting the old in the fanzines.
Yes,
you get the little, you get them send off your stamped addressed envelope for a catalogue sort of thing.
Tim, did you ever do the whole put soap on the stamp?
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that one?
I do, yeah.
It's like, so, that was the old punk rock thing. You put soap on the stamp. And that same stamp, I had one stamp that went across the Atlantic about 6 times.
Nice.
But I think in the end it was getting somewhat threadbare because you had to keep soaking it to get soap off it.
Yeah.
And you had to let it dry, then you had to glue it on the envelope and then re-soap it. But,
it was actually my granddad who told me how to do that.
Yeah.
He used to do
The
it to
same
all
age
his
as me.
letters. Yeah.
But so what was is I kept getting letters and letters and letters, and the first, I don't know, dozen or so, I just said, look, just contact the band. The addresses on the album cover, just leave me out of it. And then I just thought, why don't I set up like a mail order service selling tapes and records and whatever? And that's how I started Nightbreed. I just started selling the stuff that people were asking me about that was on New Alternatives 1, as it was, New Alternatives.
Yeah.
And then I took more and more and more stuff, and eventually I built up the mail order service. So it was doing pretty well. And I decided, why don't I reinstigate the record label? So I reinstigated the record label. And the weapon was, there's a bit of a story before I just remembered, is that roughly the same time as the first 12-inch that came out, Every New Dead Ghost got an advance. So I'm backtracking slightly, everything happened all at sort of the same time.
It's fuzzy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Every New Dead Ghost got an advance for a label that we were signed to over in France. And what happened is that to record the new album, I think we just got the princely sum of like $2,000, which to us in those days was like a phenomenal amount of money.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Back in them days, I mean, we're talking, what year that would have been? That would have been about 1991, 92. And we basically recorded the album. And then the record label said, well, actually, we've gone bankrupt. So we, forget about it. We're not putting it out. So we had this album in the can. And didn't know what to do with it. And a friend of mine just said, I'll tell you what, I'll lend you some money. And I think we put it out just after the New Alternatives. And we said, we'll put Nightbreed on it just so we've got continuity.
Nice.
So
right. That's how it happened. Yeah.
Just did it out. So basically, this is all happening all at the same time. So you've got the Every New Dead Ghost, Endless Nightmare of Stations, the first version, because we released it and then we reissued it with a different sleeve and everything.
Right, yeah.
And anyway, so what happened is that, go back to the album, as in the New Alternatives, eventually I decided to reactivate the record label. And, and then the mail order service, the record label went hand in hand. And then we basically saved up enough money to buy a recording studio. And the remnants of that is still with me today. So, yeah,
Brilliant.
That's kind of how it, in a nutshell,
nice.
How it all happened.
Great stuff. Now, we're going to take a short break. In the meantime, I'm going to play another one of Trevor's myriad projects. This time, I'm going to go with a band that are pretty much synonymous with Nightbreed Records. If you say to most people of a certain age, Nightbreed Records, they're going to think of the next band. This is Midnight Configuration with the song Forever.
When a woman combs her hair, she imitates the motion of the stars.
You're listening to the Cellar of Horrors on the Feelgood station. That was Midnight Configuration with the song Forever from their 2003 album A Sepulture Rose. Okay, I'm back with Trevor Bamford, and I just want to quickly bring up those Nightbreed samplers, because those samplers, like, to me, like, back then, because obviously, I mean, in the sort of in the 80s, you had, like, you'd still hear bits and pieces on the radio, and you had like John Peel, and even on the chart show, you had on this once a month on a Saturday, you'd have the indie chart, and you'd get people like the Nephilim pop up on it.
Yeah.
But in the sort of mid 90s, there was nothing. So those samplers that you put out, I have such fond memories of them samplers, because I've discovered so many damn good bands through them.
I mean, what happened with the, say, New Alternatives 2 was probably the best-selling CD on Nightbreed. But I don't even know how many we sold, because I actually never kept records, never kept count. Yeah. But I don't know how many, it went into multiple pressings, that's all I know.
Oh, excellent.
And it was, because basically I could put that sampler together to promote new bands and the new bands that are coming out. And, I basically, with Nightbreed, gave bands a platform to kind of reach, new audiences and everything.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, they were great for people like me. So at the time I was in Macclesfield, so it was like there wasn't a lot going on in Mac at that time. So these were like, and the fanzines as well were how I discovered everything. That's
absolutely wonderful times.
Yeah, I miss it in a way.
I do. I think that the thing is, with obviously we're living in different times.
Oh God, yeah.
But it was like kind of with every sort of generation or slice of time, whatever you want to call it. There's always good things and there's always bad things.
Oh yeah.
And it's like kind of, because I was active in the 80s, sort of towards the late mid 80s.
Yeah.
I was actually starting to be active. I mean, I was in bands even before Every New Dead Ghost. There's project bands that go right back to probably about 1982.
Right.
But anyway, and I think that some of the younger people tend to kind of fetishize the 80s. Oh yeah, great stuff, great times. I said, well, it wasn't.
Yeah, this is it, isn't it?
There was some great bands coming out, and whatever else. But it was still really difficult to record. It was difficult to get heard. It was things were different back then, because you couldn't really kind of get beyond a certain point unless you used the fanzine sort of route and whatever else, and the independent tape scene and everything else that existed in the early 80s. But it was like kind of, there's a lot of great things about the 80s, but there's a lot of annoying things.
Oh God,
and it wasn't that, there was less bands about, but there was also less option to kind of get ahead, if you will. And I think there's always good and bad with every decade and every time period.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, so after that, obviously, you did the legendary Midnight Configuration, who I've seen several times, and every time I've seen you with Midnight Configuration, I've injured myself. every gig I've been to of Midnight Configuration, I've come out with some form of
power,
injury.
Tim, it's just getting you.
This is it, man. This is it. It was even the last time, which was up in London at Slimelight for the I Can't Believe It's Not Gotham. I still managed to injure myself, even though it was really quite quiet that night. I still managed to injure myself.
Curious.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's just one of those things, isn't it? And then, so you've had various other projects, Death Party UK, because I believe you still do that as well.
Yeah. Well, Death Party UK is on hold at the moment.
Right.
The reason for that is that Death Party UK is me and my wife, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
And she's concentrating on her business at the moment.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very demanding. So she's giving 100% to that at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, we keep talking about doing some. Well, I keep trying to talk her into do some shows, but she's just so busy with her, her business that we can't really fit anything in. So Death Party UK, Death Party UK on Monday, releasing a digital mini album, an album called, what have I called it now? Out of the Vaults, which is basically, I decided that soon as that Death Party UK was going through a period of inactivity, I was going to release all the stuff that I'd recorded so far. And the stuff going, the outtakes and previously unreleased tracks. So there's an album. It's coming out literally on Monday as a digital version. I mean, you're on my mailing list. You've probably
I've got it. Yeah. I had it on the other day.
Yeah.
I had it on the other day.
So we've got that. And sometimes it's really weird listening to those tracks again because some of them are quite recent. I mean, some of them were actually recorded, just finished off during lockdown.
Right.
And some others go back to, I'd say probably about 2014, 2015. But they just never got round to releasing them because other songs took precedence. And then I was thinking, well, we ought to do something because they're just sitting in the vault. So that's that's where we got name from.
Nice. Yeah. So your main project at the moment is Chaos Bleak. We're going to get onto that. We're going to get onto that in a moment. Before we do, we're going to take a little break. Want to choose a Chaos Bleak song for us?
I think probably because the most recent EP we've got out at the moment is Virus Shadow.
Yeah.
And I think probably Dress the Kids for War.
Wait
Okay, that was Dress the Kids for War by Chaos Bleak from their Virus Shadow EP, and that's available now for download on through the band's Bandcamp page. I'll be back with the second half of my interview with Trevor Bamford in the second hour of the show, but for now we're going to move on to a little bit of horror literature news. UK horror legend Mr. Ramsey Campbell, who is probably one of my biggest inspirations aside from Lovecraft and his original Circle, has just released a new book through Flametree Press. It's called Fellstones, and it's billed as a mix of folk and cosmic horror, and I'm just about to buy it. I just remembered it was coming out, and it's going into my Amazon basket right now. So I would pick that up if you want a good read for Halloween. Get that in your basket and get that bought. It's going to be a good one. You just know it. It's Ramsey Campbell. It's going to be good. From one new release to another now, we're going to go for a song by the band Novus, previously known as Novus UK, and their new single is called ESS. Released very recently. The singer Sarah Jane started out her musical career in the band Faithful Dawn, who I love. I think they were massively brilliant. And their Temperance album was released way back in 1997 on Nightbreed Records, funnily enough. I didn't realise Novus was still going. I mean, I saw them a long time ago, supporting the Cruise Shadows at Dingwalls at Camden Lock. And I hadn't really seen or heard anything from them since. So yeah, it's good to have them back. Yeah, enjoy.
Integrating decisions.
Welcome back to the Cellar of Horrors. That was S by Novus, which is now available on their band's Bandcamp. That's novusuk.bandcamp. Okay, we're rapidly approaching the end of the first hour. Stay tuned in the second hour for part 2 of our interview with Trevor Bamford and oodles and oodles more Nightbreed classics. And more news and more of the usual silliness. Right now I'm going to play you another classic, another Nightbreed classic from 13 Candles. This song is called The Hunted.
You're online at the Feelgood station. Your first stop for feel-good music, feel-good chat, and much, much more.
probably will end games without frontiers, war without tears. If looks could kill, they probably will end games without frontiers, war without tears. Games without frontiers, war without tears. If looks could kill, they probably will end games without frontiers, war without tears. If looks could kill, they probably will end games without frontiers, war without tears. Games without frontiers, war without tears. If looks could kill, they probably will end games without frontiers, war without tears. Games without frontiers, war without tears.
Welcome back to the Cellar of Horrors with Tim Mendes and Septimus the Spider. Welcome to Hour 2. The track you just heard was this week's Random Improbable cover. That was UK electro-industrial heroes Inertia with their cover of Peter Gabriel's Games Without Frontiers. I think it's a great little version. It's a great version. It's from their 2017 album Dream Machine. Inertia just recently released another single, which I'll get on the show at some point, and they also recently released their second decade in retrospective. It's called Decade of Machines Volume 2. They've been going a long time, and yeah, a couple of their albums back in the 90s were on Nightbreed Records. So yeah, there you go. I haven't broke my formula. I've kept to my own rules. It's tenuously linked. Right, Septimus, where are you? What are you up to? You know when you say nothing like that, it makes me suspicious. You know that? I'm sure I'll find out later what he's been doing. He's probably been putting dead flies in my shoes again or something. He's a terror. He's an absolute terror. Anyway, being as we're doing this, and a lot of it is synth heavy, would you like to choose another one? What would you like to hear? Oh, you know, I'd kind of forgotten about that. That's a great little song. Yeah, we'll go with that. Is the song Goddess from Sabotage from the album Acoustic Costumes.
Strong as the
The Feelgood Station, taking you to the best shows.
Face
All those memories flooding back when I was younger and thinner and my body didn't complain every time I tried to get out of a chair. Okay, the first track you heard there was Goddess by Sabotage from their album Acoustic Costumes on Nightbreed. And the second one was a band that, great, really popular at the time. The key seemed to have kind of faded from memory a little bit, but I'm doing my best to keep them in that memory. I play that song as often as humanly possible, that and allegedly Dance Floor Tragedy. That was Suspiria with Now You See the Swine from their album Drama. Okay, right, we're going to move straight on into part 2 of our interview with Trevor Bamford. First off, I'm going to play you a track by one of his current-ish projects. This is Death Party UK.
The Feelgood Station, taking you to the best shows.
Welcome back to the Cellar of Horrors. That was Death Party UK with the track Over the Hills and Far Away from the aforementioned upcoming release From the Vault. Okay, I am back with Trevor Bamford. Yeah, so I've been a big fan since you first started Chaos Bleak. So how did that how did they come about? How did it happen?
Right, okay, Chaos Bleak. What actually happened is that Piers, the singer, and myself, We've been mates for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
And in fact, towards the end of Midnight Configuration, he did sort of additional backing vocals and keyboards. So we kind of, we go right back. But anyway, what happened is that after we decided to finish with Midnight Configuration, because I decided that after, I think it was 18 years around Midnight Configuration.
Yeah, it was a long time.
I decided that that particular, how you describe it, a musical paradigm, that particular world, I'd kind of gone as far, and I've said everything musically and otherwise that I wanted to say with that particular musical format.
Right.
But also what I wanted to do, Death Party shot off from that. But Piers and I wanted to kind of get back to my sort of, I'd say, post-punk roots, really.
Yeah.
Like Every New Dead Ghost style stuff. And, I wanted to go back to that kind of sort of stuff again. And we formed a band called Arcane Winter.
Yep.
And released a few bits and pieces. And
good stuff.
Mini album. Yeah. And we've actually got a whole lot of stuff in the can, which I like to release one day, but that's by and by.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, yeah, a load of stuff. And anyway, so what was we kind of, doing the working with Arcane Winter. And there's a weird coincidence. I don't know if you know this, but with Arcane Winter, the drummer that we got in was a guy called David Perkins, but we called him Charlie. Now, Charlie was the original singer with Every New Dead Ghost.
Was he really? I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, a lot of people
fun.
don't. And so what happened is that it was kind of like Arcane Winter contained at least two ex members of Every New Dead Ghost, and Nick on bass, who used to play guitar with Midnight Configuration, and Piers on vocals. And just while we're talking about Arcane Winter, I just want to make a quick sort of comment. Unfortunately, just recently, Dave Charlie passed away.
Oh,
so
shit.
we're kind of we're basically going to be dedicating a couple of songs to him in the future. I'll tell you more about that later. But yeah, he passed away quite recently.
Sad.
Very suddenly. So anyway, Arcane Winter. Dave at that time, Charlie, decided he wanted to go off and do something else, and the bass player Nick had some family problems, so Arcane Winter kind of stopped, and we were waiting to, things to be resolved with Arcane Winter, and years went by, and I just said, you know what, I've had enough of this. I want to kind of do something again. And Piers and I were chatting about stuff, and I said, well, I'd like to do something that's kind of has elements of 90s goth, elements of my influences, which are Killing Joke and Play Dead, as well as all the 90s drum programming and sequences and synthesizers. Bands like Garden of Delight were an influence, Merry Thoughts were an influence on me, and all that kind of a lot of German dark wave as well.
Great
so
stuff.
I wanted to mix in all of my influences, but make it very much a guitar-based sort of project. And so what happened is we were talking about this, and Piers' wife just said, why don't you just do it? And I went, you know what, I will. So literally, we're in a pub, we discussed and said, right, and we decided we were going to have a proper production meeting, as in like, let's really do this. So we met up again, invited a few people, and some people turned up, some people didn't, and we decided that we were going to form this new project, which became Chaos Bleak, and we decided to advertise for a bass player. But my favorite bass player always was Justin, because I was 13 Candles. I've always been a massive fan of 13 Candles. I mean, I think for me, Come Out of the Dark is one of the best albums of the 90s. And what happened is that I thought, because he was in loads of different bands and he still is busy with other projects. And what happened is that we put an advert up, and he said, a few people applied, and then Justin applied, and so we thought, right, that's it, really. So we auditioned him with one track, and I knew for a fact he would be brilliant, and I was right. And then he joined, and that's it. That's how the so-called Gothic supergroup of Chaos Bleak got together. It was me and Piers knew each other anyway. Yeah. And Justin, we were so happy to know that he was available, and that's how Chaos Bleak came together.
That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, because I love that stuff, because I'm really into that sort of sound. I mean, like Play Dead and Killing Joke and all that sort of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm really into all that stuff. But I'm also, again, like yourself, I'm really into that sort of that early 90s dark wave
Yeah,
a lot of the German bands like Merry Thoughts,
love it,
and
yeah.
and obviously I know
I want
people
to blend
like
it all together, and I think I've achieved it.
I think that's why it really sort of like flicks my switch. It's like it's all the bits of the stuff that I really like, and I really like Piers's voice as well.
Yeah,
he's got that sort of delivery that I really like in a goth band.
Yeah, he's totally into all of that whole thing.
Yeah, it just works. It just works on so many levels. And thank you very much for letting me use Mythos on my book trailer for my first ever short story collection.
It's almost as if we wrote it for you.
I know. This is it. Well, this is it because when you put it out, you sent out promos. And I got it in the thing. It was just when I was about to release it. And obviously it was all your songs about Lovecraft, all my stuff's Lovecrafty. And it was kind of like,
Brilliant.
It also appeared on the Putting the Stars Right.
Yeah, that's it. Compilation.
Yeah, well, that was put together by a friend of mine who I used to DJ with in the Midlands.
That's right.
Yeah, Matt Hawkes. Yeah, DJ Trilobite. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, an old mate of mine. So
yeah,
it's weird, isn't it?
States now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, actually in Providence.
Well, of course. Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Before we get into what Chaos Bleak are doing up to date, what they're doing now, we're going to take another short break. I'm going to play you a song by the aforementioned Arcane Winter. This is 13, the post-punk mix. Welcome back to the Cellar of Horrors. That was Arcane Winter with 13, the post-punk mix from the 2016 album Welcome to Winter. Now I'm back with Trevor Bamford. So then, what are Chaos Bleak up to at the moment?
Right, I've got a bit of an exclusive for Chaos Bleak. If you're ready for it, Tim.
Oh yes. Oh, always.
Okay, ready? Fanfare. Chaos Bleak have signed to the Italian Gothic label called Gothic World Records.
Oh,
and we've signed a month or so ago, and the first release on Gothic World Records is going to be a special limited edition reissue of A New Age of Darkness.
Ooh.
With brand spanking new cover art.
Ooh.
It's going to be in a digipack format.
Nice.
And it's going to contain the bonus tracks, our version of Miranda.
Hey!
We did Miranda. And also our version of Requiem.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
Because basically the policy we had with the EPs that we did with Chaos Bleak is that we were going to do bonus tracks, and the covers were just going to be on those EPs.
Yeah.
But obviously now we've signed to Gothic World Records. They were saying, "Well, can we have some bonus tracks?" Yeah, no problem. So we've called this. It's going to be called A New Age of Darkness Requiem Edition. However, the crazy, obscure collectability does not stop there, Tim.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Right. Okay. So, the Requiem edition of A New Age of Darkness on the CD side is going to be the album plus the 2 bonus tracks.
Yeah.
The other side of the CD is a vinyl disc.
Oh.
That it's a bit strange. You have to kind of pop something out of it and stick it on a turntable, whatever.
Oh, I know the ones. I've got that little plastic thing that you have to.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of such a thing.
Yeah, usually for the old 45s. That
yeah. But what's happened? So basically, it's this format which apparently has been around for a while. But I first of it, it's called vinyl CDs. Ah. So on the CD side, it's going to be A New Age of Darkness plus 2 bonus tracks. Flip it over and do various things to make it work on a turntable. And there's going to be 2 unreleased tracks.
Ooh.
One of them is Chaos Intro, which is an ambient piece.
Yep.
And then there's a song called Pressure Unknown, which has been out on a digital compilation, but it hasn't been out on CD.
I don't know that one, so right.
Yeah, so
definitely having a copy of that.
And it gets better. Now, I'm not sure of the final version of this. It's actually a package.
Yeah.
I think it's a limited edition of the Requiem edition of A New Age of Darkness has that, and also I think it comes with an exclusive T-shirt.
Ooh.
As well.
Now, you're going to have to show me where I can buy this.
I'm going to tell you all about it in a bit. So basically, what's happened is that I'm not quite sure the final version. I mean, there's also talk of maybe having mugs and stuff like that, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But I know there's going to be that's going to be the album. You flip it over, there's going to be 2 bonus tracks.
That's brilliant.
Justin has done some fantastic new artwork, which I think brings everything into focus, and it's going to be released on the 28th of October.
Ooh.
And
not long.
I don't quite know. I know the Gothic World Records are putting it out.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be available initially from their website only. Right. Obviously, we're going to try and get copies for ourselves, which we can sell at gigs and via the Chaos Bleak Bandcamp page and whatever else.
Perfect.
So we're quite excited to see this strange hybrid brilliant. CD vinyl thing.
Yeah, I've heard about them. I've not actually seen one.
I've never seen one.
No, I've never seen one, but I've heard about it. Somebody told me about one not that long ago. I think it may have been at the Christian Death gig recently that somebody told me about it. And I was like, what?
Wow. Yeah. See, I'd never heard of it. So basically, it's going to be, so first up, we've signed to Gothic World Records. Second up, we've got, by the way, say how many limited edition. I think it's limited to 100 copies.
Oh, bloody hell. Right.
In that format. I think they may be reissued after that and another format, but it's limited edition of 100 copies only. But yeah, so there you go. That's our big Something's Coming announcement.
That's amazing. I love it. I'm very excited about that. So it's a great album.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
This bizarre sort of CD vinyl hybrid.
Yeah, very strange.
The other thing to say is that, obviously the signing came out of the blue. And so this is all, what's the word? Remaining time, 9 minutes and 55 seconds, it says on here.
Yeah, just ignore it.
Okay.
We'll be done by then.
Okay, cool. So the other thing is that we've actually planned a new digital single, but that's probably going to be put back now until the new year. And then there's going to be some other tracks are going to be issued. Well, we're not quite sure if there's going to be another EP or what. But at the moment, we're working hard on new recording and writing and recording new material for another release. But we've got a new single coming out. I'm not sure exactly when, and there's going to be a new promo video for it as well.
Oh, excellent!
There's going to be a making of the planning of the video, which
that's such a modern thing, isn't it? It's a making of the making.
What happened was, I tell you what was really funny is that we played a show. Well, it was actually kind of with Still Patient just before lockdown, and we got a bottle of Jim Beam with Chaos Bleak written on it. So we kind of what we were going to do. We always planned we were going to do something special with it. So the idea we had one night was, so why don't we all go round to a friend of ours' house, because he's got quite a big house, and we get the bottle out, and then we drink the bottle. We bring our wives, and we all contribute to ideas for the video and film the process, which has been done. And so I've got to edit that. At the moment, because we've moved house, I've got to find the footage, start editing. So that's where we are with Chaos Bleak at the moment.
Wonderful. You didn't have one of the Still Patient hip flasks, did you? Because I bought one of them when they came over. I think it was the same run of shows. It was literally a few days before lockdown. I saw them in London with Grooving in Green.
Right.
Yeah, and they had hip flasks. It didn't have many of them, but I bought one.
Oh, wow.
They're Still
I think
Patient
sold
hip
out of them
flask.
time we play with them.
Oh, it's a shame. They look great. So, have you got any shows lined up, or are you?
We're playing up at Whitby. I think I can't remember off the dot. I'll look at my phone. I'll tell you the date. Actually, it's also very modern these days. We're all everything's on your phone. I mean, my life's on my bloody phone.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
Oh God, I know. It looks to me like we are playing. Saturday the 29th.
Wonderful.
At the Met.
Oh, cool.
And after that, we have got so that's probably going to be a launch party, actually.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's so where we haven't, because obviously we got the gig before we got the record deal and everything. So that's probably going to be some form of impromptu launch party.
Wonderful.
But after that, there's nothing absolutely guaranteed. There's a few things in the wings.
Yeah.
And I'm wanting to do something for Christmas. And obviously we're going to start booking shows for the new year. There's possibility of a couple of reasonable supports we've got in mind. But there's nothing at this moment in time concrete.
Excellent. Well, thanks, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. This is one of those things we could go on for hours here. You'll have to come on again at some point.
No problem.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so just before you go, do you want to lead us out with a favourite of yours?
Oh, totally. Right. The track I've picked is the live version of Walk Away by Play Dead.
Yeah.
Now, most people that know me know my favourite two bands are Play Dead and Killing Joke. And for me, the best Play Dead song is Walk Away. Yeah. And the live version of it is just so fantastic.
It is.
I mean, when I first saw Play Dead, I first saw them, I think it was like 1984. I saw them and I just thought, that's the kind of band I want to be in. I want to do that. And
nice.
So Walk Away, it kind of sums all that up for me. So so listeners, if you've not heard this song, your life is about to change.
marvellous. That was the mighty Play Dead with the live version of Walk Away from the 1985 live album Into the Fire. I've got a little bit of a funny story about Play Dead because their guitarist Steve Green is a good friend of mine. When I last moved house, I was given this really tiny window between moving out my old place and into my new, and the new place had basically just been replastered, so it looked a mess. So I had to decorate it, and I had like 2 days or something ridiculous. So I was like, as I phoned it, Steve, oh help! There's something incredibly surreal about coming at you. I was doing the bathroom, right, and I came through into the lounge, and Steve-O's there wearing a flat cap on a step ladder, doing me ceiling with a roller. There's something incredibly strange about seeing somebody who was on the tube painting your ceiling. He's a really good decorator, by the way. He's really, really good. He was less than kind about my decorating abilities. So thanks again to Trevor Bamford. That was a great chat, and he's a great guest. And I'm sure we'll hear from him again at some point. If you want to get in touch, if you want to get something on the show, you want to get a gig out there, you want to come on and have a chat with me, get in touch at the Cellar of Horrors. That's Cellar of Horrors, all one word, all lowercase, at gmail.com. That's cellarofhorrors@gmail.com. Okay, as we're hurtling towards the end of the show with rapidity, I'm going to try and cram in a few more tunes before we finish. For this first one is by the band One, and it's called Mercy Mile.
When the hunting's over,
You're online at the Feelgood Station.
Welcome back to the Cellar of Horrors. The song you just heard was Broken by French gothic rock band Corpus Delicti. It was released on their Obsessions album, which was actually reissued by Nightbreed Records. It was reissued and expanded with a couple of bonus tracks, including a superb cover of Joy Division's Atmosphere. which is, it's a great album overall. It's possibly my favourite, although I'm one of those weirdos who really liked that album where they dropped the Delecti bit from their name and went industrial. I really like that one. Now, Corpus Delicti have recently reformed, and they're doing an extensive European tour. Yeah, unfortunately the London show was sold out. I'm hoping they'll do another one. But yeah, they're touring. They're starting on the 5th of November. They're starting off in France, then going to Italy. All over the place. And then they're actually going to Mexico in April. So keep your eyes peeled, because they're one of those bands I thought I'd never see, and I really, really hope I get to see them. Anybody who's going to that show at the Bon Bon Club on the 19th of November, I am incredibly jealous of you. Right, that brings us to the end of the show. I've enjoyed this immensely. I should do another one of these sort of almost specials. Well, I'm going to be doing one coming up for Whitby. I'm going to be doing a Whitby preview show where I'll play a track by all the bands that are going to be featured on the weekend. So that's going to be fun. That won't be the next one, it'll be one after. But yeah, I should do one on like Wax Trax Records and things like that, because I think I've enjoyed this immensely. It's made me all nostalgic. So, right, I'm just going to leave you on a track by the band Synthetic. They don't think they were actually signed to Nightbreed, but this version of this song, which originally appeared on their Control album from 2003. This song is Body Farm, but this is the Coroner mix, which I believe is only available on the Gothic Sounds of Nightbreed 4. I remember when that came out, I was running a little goth night at the Foundry in Dudley in the West Midlands, and I'd recently bought that compilation CD, that sampler, from ST Records in Dudley, and I got heroically drunk when I was DJing to the point where I couldn't use the crossfader properly, so I ended up just playing half of that album. Anyway, thank you for listening. I've been Tim Mendes. Septimus is off somewhere. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Surprise, all I saw was a sword.